Welcome back, everyone. It's time to talk about the new dialogue system for Marketplace NPCs. Let's jump right into it. Though some of you may have already taken a look at the dialogue system, it's here at the bottom of the list on the guide page, right underneath Battle Pass. And what it is, if the quests and quest events were like the cake, then the dialogue system is like the icing that goes right on top of that cake. There is so much it can do and not a lot it can't do. If you've ever played other big RPG games, then you understand what a dialogue system is. Games like Dragon Age Inquisition, here is their dialogue system. It's like a little pop-up. So you come, you're playing the game, and then you encounter an NPC, and then you have to interact with that NPC, and it gives you a bunch of dialogue choices that have different impacts on the game, or the gameplay, or the quest that you're trying to complete. And each one has its own next set of dialogue that's a response to that. So it's imitating a conversation, basically. So in games like Mass Effect as well, there's a similar type of dialogue system that has a good and bad morality choice kind of system. So you can make these choices, and then what you choose has a direct impact on that NPC's reaction to you. Again, much like a real back and forth conversation you're having with another person. The Marketplace dialogue system does a very good job of trying to imitate that. Let's go through the separate parts of the dialogue system itself. So here are the options that you can actually put in to the dialogue system. There's text. That's basically what you want the text to show up as. There's a transition, which means you're going from one dialogue set to another dialogue set, and I'll show you what that means. There's the commands, which are the actual things that you can force to happen to the player or around the player. There's the actual icon of the choice, armor and weapons and food, the stuff that you normally see icons for in the game. So if I go into the game, you know, any of these icons, right now it only works with the vanilla icons, I believe, so, but that's what it means by icon. Condition, that's like the check that the mod is doing to see if the command should happen or should not happen. Always visible, it just means, you know, if there's a reason for the player not to have that choice, then that's kind of like the on-off switch for that. Kind of like the quests. If there's requirements for a specific quest and the quest comes up, there is a special config to either show that or not show that. And if it shows it, it'll say you need to do whatever underneath to get access to this quest. Instead, you can hide it completely. That's what always visible means in the dialogue system. And color represents the color of the player option text. I don't know if that is active, but we're gonna find out. Now, there's a lot of features that are still in development that are not quite yet released. The main vanilla game is gonna have another patch soon, which may or may not break mods. I know the mod developers are actively working on this, so we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, here's what's available. Much like all of the other formats, the quests, the profiles, the territories, all that stuff, there's profile names with brackets on either side. Underneath that is the text that you want the NPC to say to you, kind of like their initial dialogue to you, to the player. And then underneath you put the text, you know, options, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to have happen, and so on and so forth. So you can put a lot of different text options there, and I'm going to show you. Now here are all the conditions, and I'm going to go through them individually. And then here are all the commands, and I'm going to go through them individually as well. At the bottom here, he has some examples. Pretty basic stuff. This is the greeting, and then here are your 4 options underneath, and when you click these options, obviously 2 of these, he doesn't have anything have happen. You can just click on them, it does nothing. But this one under here, it says it opens a UI for an info NPC, the village info profile, and then it's a village icon. That's not in the game, but he's just using it as a reference. Same thing here. I'm looking for work, so it transitions to the job options, and when you see job options here, that's the next set underneath there. It can be anywhere. It's just referencing the next thing to go to. So basically, you click on this. I'm looking for work. It sends you to job options, and in job options, here's the text that you would get, and then your choices underneath. That's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, here are the conditions that are available at the moment. So let's go through them from top down, starting with has item. So this checks if the player has a specific item, right? Has item, item prefab name, and amount. So here's what it looks like in the dialogues. Condition. If you're making a check, it's always condition, colon, and then whatever the format is after that. So condition, colon, and then any of these usages here. Condition, has item, mace, bronze, 1. Just 1. You don't need to put the level, you just put 1. So has item, or it could be any number. Make sure you have 10 bronze maces or 50 coins or 5 wood. It doesn't matter. Any condition, any item will make this condition work. So this option is only visible if you have the item. Now, I have the item. Here's the bronze mace. If as soon as I drop that item, this option is available if you have the item. You need 1 bronze mace. Now, ironically, the one underneath it was if you don't have the item. So that's the second one on the list. Same thing, just in reverse, right? Here's what it looks like in the dialogue right here. Condition, not has item, mace bronze. So guess what? It's not in my inventory anymore. And here, the option is now available. Now, if I choose, if I go back and I say always visible for this one, and you separate everything with a pipe, just like you do in the quest system, it's very similar. Always visible, colon, false. And if I save this, then that one at the top, number 1, should disappear, and this should be number 1. Let's take a look and make sure. This doesn't update live like the quests do, so you have to exit out, escape, and then re-click it. This option is only visible if you don't have the item. So that first one, where it says, open back up again. It says always visible false if you have the item. Now, if I pick the item up, now it's visible again. So that's how the always visible works as well, just to give you a sense. Now, this is the same thing, only visible if you have the speed buff, the buff named speed. I've already tried to do this, so I go over, I buy the speed buff. I go over, and it's not quite working. So either my buff is wrongly configured, or I have it laid out wrong, or it's buggy. So just so you know that it's the same thing, though, for if you don't have the buff, or if you do have the buff, same thing with the item. And then if we go to the, here's has buff, not has buff, same thing. It's just separated by a comma and the buff name. Skill. So now there's skill more and skill less. And so that's pretty self-explanatory, but it's just a level check to see if you have equal to or more or equal to or less of whatever skill that you denote. So I'll show you what I have here. If you equal to, so the first one is more, the first one is less, and it's just run skill 5. So condition, skill more, run 5. If I go and take a look at my skills, I have a run 65, so I definitely have more. So if I click on this, this option is visible if you have equal to or more than a certain skill. Skill more, that's run, and then it says too much skill for the less than here. So skill less, I don't meet that. That means I can't click on that option. Just not clickable. Okay? Let's let Bob go on his merry way. Walking too slow. Yeah, keep it moving. You know what? I've had enough of you. Get down. Yeah. Anywho. Alright. So where were we? Skill less. Yeah, so we've done skill more, skill less. Now we'll move on to global key. If you don't know what a global key is, that's basically a check that the game does when you defeat a boss. Yeah, it can be anything. I mean, there's only a couple in the game, and you can actually find them, the ones that have been activated. You just go to your console and type in list keys, and those are the 16 keys that have already been activated on this server. Now I can reset them or whatever, but that's basically what this is checking for. If you have defeated bone mass, then this option will be available. If you have not defeated bone mass, and here, condition, global key, and then the key. Defeated Bomas, defeated Eikthyr, whomever. Doesn't matter. Whatever that key is, you know, once you find it, it's just a check. If then. These are all like if then statements. If this, then that. Very simple stuff. So this option is available because I have not defeated Bone Mass. Now if I just spawn Bone Mass, right? And then, you know, I take him out. I'll just kill him. Kill all. Alright. So Bone Mass is dead. Now, if I go over here, the option is only available if you've activated a global key. I activated that global key. Guess what? Now this option is not available. So you have some flexibility about how to direct a player towards different dialogue options. You could say, come back to me after you've defeated the elder god in the forest, and then they go to do that, and then there's a different option where that option was before. You could say, only show come back to me if you've defeated the elder god, if they haven't defeated the elder god first. And once they come back, you can also have a check where if they've defeated it, then it shows another dialogue option that's different from the last one they encountered, and the other one can just disappear. So it's very much like a traditional dialogue system. It just requires you to put these conditions in to allow that to happen. So let's move on. Here's VIP. VIP is the VIP list. So if you go to your marketplace config in your marketplace folder on your server, here is the marketplace config. Down here where it says VIP list, right here, marketplace VIP list. This is just Steam IDs. You can just have anyone be a VIP. It doesn't matter. It gives them some other options, but in general, it's just an extra check. So if you have a system on your server where some people pay to get extra skins, or they're donating to you on your Patreon or whatever, or you know, whatever, doesn't matter. You can put them on this list, and they can get access to certain quests. So, or certain dialogue options which lead to certain quests. So, there's a is VIP, is not VIP, and then in the dialogue system right here, is VIP, is not VIP. There's nothing after it. It's just condition, is or isn't. That's it. It's just a quick check. Okay, if we go to the next one, has quest, not has quest. Same thing. These are all kind of like on-off switches, or on-off checks. So has quest, quest ID. That's just the quest ID. So if you go to your database, quest database.config, any of these quests are now available to use in that system. So you can check and say, does the player have a quest, or does the player not have a quest? So here I have this quest, has harvest quest, not has harvest quest. Same thing, condition, colon, not has quest, or whichever one, comma, space, quest ID. Now I don't have this quest, so it's not quest not taken. So I have this option and I don't have that option. Quest progress done. So that's if you have completed a quest progress, if you have to pick, 50 blueberries, then if you've picked all 50 and you haven't completed the quest, this is just a check to make sure that the progress for the quest is done, not necessarily you've completed it, just the progress. Once you get the progress completed, it will respond to that, just as all the other ones did. Now, if you have completed a certain quest, that's the last one. So that's quest finished, quest not finished. So if you have completed Boar Season 1 on Quest 2, Boar Season. All right, so if I take the quest, right? Now I've got Boar Season 1, right? So if I go back over here, only visible if you have completed a specific quest. I haven't completed it. Progress not done. So if I, 10 boars? There's so many boars. Kill them all. All right, so you can see my numbers going up in terms of progress. Oh, one more. Get back here. Yeah, man. Yeah, right. So, 10 out of 10. Progress finished. Let's go back. This option is only visible if you have completed the progress for a specific quest. There it is. So it's now it's available, and this is no longer available. So that's just another check you can do. And this is if you haven't finished it or you have finished it. So if I go back to, who was it, Bob? Complete the quest. Now I've completed Boar Season, and it switched back, so it's working. It's given me the access to one dialogue option and hiding the access to another. So those are the conditions for the dialogue system. Now let's go to the commands. Now I've got this NPC over here who has the commands. These are the commands you can give, and let's go through them one by one. This is the UI, Open UI command. Now this is for any of the NPCs that you would choose. Marketplace, trader, info, etc. All of them are options. And they're listed right here. So here are the NPC types. And the format would be... Oops. The format would be... Here we are. Command, Open UI, Trader, Mountain. So if I go to my trader profiles, any of these profiles are options now. You don't need to just have like a million traders, right? You could have one trader and have different dialogue options for that trader to choose, or that player to choose from all those different traders, if you want it. You don't have to do that. Okay. So let's take a look at what that looks like. If I click on this is an Open UI function. I've got my Open UI Mountain 1. Mountain 1. Trader profiles. Here we go. Mountain 1 sells crystal, obsidian, freeze gland, silver ore, and silver. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Make sure it's working. And boom. There it goes. So it's just going to send you Open UI, whatever, is going to send you to whatever profile you want. Quests, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just it's like the off-ramp to get somewhere else, to some other UI interaction. Because once this opens, dialogue stops, right? Now if I hit escape or buy something or whatever, dialogue's out. So remember that. If you open UI, you're ending the dialogue conversation right there. Okay? You can, and I'll show you how to kind of link that back around for more stuff. So this is, you finish quest. So if you have an active quest, this will, by clicking this dialogue option, it will finish the quest. So here's Boar Season 1, right? Let's see, where's Bob? Oh, hey Bob. Oh, it's got a cooldown. Okay, well, let's switch that to not a cooldown. Let's say 0. Save it, and then we'll give it 1 day back to make sure there's no confusion. For Season 1, save. Okay. Okay, so Boar Season 1. I've got Boar Season 1. If I click on this finish quest, it's going to finish that quest no matter what I do. Right? It does what it says. Finish is an active quest you have no matter what. You don't get a choice. Click on it, quest is over. Ready? Done. Quest is finished. Okay, let's go to the next one. It's play sound. So if you click on this button, it will play a sound. Now, unlike the quest events, this plays it locally, which means it's spatially aware in terms of where you are turning, looking, how far away you are, not kind of like unavoidably stereo in your head. So
open for business.
There you go. Now if I try it again, you can hear
open for business.
You can hear it's local. You can make it whatever you want. Just like the interact thing, but it's just responding to a specific prompt, a specific dialogue thing. Okay, next one is give quest, which is basically just having the dialogue system force a quest onto the player, and no matter what, they don't have a choice. You don't have to prompt them, it just happens. That's the command. So give quest, and then the quest ID. In my examples here, I've got give quest, Boar quest Season 1. Or, sorry, I've got command give quest Boar Season 1. Now, if we remember, Bob over here, I got a cooldown on that, right? This should bypass that cooldown. So give quest, Now I have Boar Season 1 again, right? There we go. Now I have Boar Season 1, and I did it even overriding the cooldown. Now, the next item would be Give Item. It gives an item to the player. That's it. It just gives you any prefab that you want. So give item, item prefab, amount, level. So here it is. Give item. I've got give item, bronze mace 1 and a level 2. Okay. Here's what it looks like here. Give item. Any player, amount, or level. Okay. Now it just dropped it on the floor because I have no room. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. That's all I want to get rid of right now. All right, let's try that again. Bob, move along. Move along, Bob. Move along, move along. All right. Give item. All right, now I have it. There it is. Bronze mace, level 2. Okay, and now the next command is the one that is not working very well. So if it's any item over a level 1, it will not remove it. So if I do remove item, I believe I have bronze mace here, right? Level 2. The input is actually just, it doesn't ask for the level, the usage. It just wants the amount. But I discovered that if it's anything over level 1, it doesn't matter, it won't remove it. So if I go back and save this, and then let's click on that. So if we look in my inventory, I have a level 2 and a level 1, right? This should delete this, and then this will remain. And if I click it again, this will stay. So removes any item. We know that it's going to remove the bronze mace. And open up my dialogue again. Here it is, bronze mace, remove item. Okay. And we click on that, and there it is. It's gone. Level 1. Now, this should be gone as well. If I click it again, removes any item, and it stayed. So just be aware for right now. Just be aware for right now, if you want it to remove any item, I mean, let's change it. Let's say remove item coins 100, right? So let's do coins 100 and make sure that it is removing coins like you're paying for something almost. Because you can do that. You could actually, in one dialogue choice, you could take money from a player and then give them something else. Give them an item. Give them, just like a trader would, like you're buying and selling, except you're bypassing the trader NPC type at all, and you're just using the dialogue option to give and take things. So let's try it again. So this will remove an item. Just to verify, I have 999 coins. Should have 899, removed item. 899, so it is removing items that don't have levels. If it has a level, make sure it's level 1. That's it. Moving on. Spawn. It spawns creatures nearby. It's pretty self-explanatory. So let's open up my dialogue again. Let's go down, and here it is. Spawn, Greyling, 4, level. So it's the same thing. You need to include the level right here. And let's click that and see what happens. Now it doesn't spawn it right in, like, around you, but let's click that. We go back around and look. Oh, look at that. Greylings. Okay. All right. And teleport. So this is pretty self-explanatory, as I wrote there. It's just your location. Now, I will tell you, if you're using server dev commands, Infinity Hammer, World Edit, anything that shows your position on the minimap. So up there, okay? Up here, it has X, Z, Y. And the format that we want is X, Y, Z. So be aware, if you're taking your coordinates make sure that you put them in the right order, or else you will not end up in the right place. So let me just give you an example of what that looks like. It just shoots you from one spot to another. I had nothing to do with this portal. I just chose this spot because I thought it would be cool. Teleports you there. That's it. If it goes far, I think it does do the teleport effect. But otherwise, you're going from one spot to another, and that's it. So this would be good for, you know, if you have a quest that's like a wave of enemies, you know, continual wave of enemies, then like an event. You put them in an arena. You know, if you have this NPC that gives them this quest or this option, then you teleport them somewhere far away where the arena is, so there's like no latency, or the frames are better because of, you know, less pieces. Or you can just say, now it's time to go to this other area. You know, you're forcing the player to go to one place or another. That's what that does. All right, next one is remove quest. Pretty self-explanatory. Removes a quest. So if you have an active quest, you know, let's say you've got an active, let's say you've got something, you know, a quest that, or situation where you know that the player will have a certain quest, give them a choice. You know, say if you click this button, you know, you can do get this item, but you'll lose the quest. And that's the good thing about the dialogue system as well. With the quest, because you can give and take away quests without the player having to interact with the UI, it basically allows you to put a whole bunch of quests in the database and then just pick and choose from them. There's no other way for that player to access these quests because they're not linked to a profile, right? There's just this big list of quests that could be involved in the story, and then with this system, you can, you know, basically force them on a player or take them away without them being able to say, hey, oh, I just want to cancel that. The only thing they can do, and this is the thing that is unavoidable, and I'm going to see if I can ask the dev about this, is that if you take a quest, you can always click it off here. There's no way to stop that from happening, even if you're given the quest. As long as it shows up in the journal, you can still cancel it there. So that's still always an option. You're just hoping that a player won't do that unnecessarily. They can always re-accept the quest. So this is going to remove a quest, and it's going to remove Boar Season 1. So I have Boar Season 1. It should remove this quest, and there it goes. It's gone. Okay? The next one will be damage, and this is just command damage. So just damage and the damage value. If you click this button, it's gonna give you damage. I have this for like negative choices. This gives you a little bit of like, you know, damage. Nothing. You're not gonna kill the player. Why would you do that? So damage, and that's it. It just does a small amount of damage. I'm in God mode, so it's not gonna have any effect right now. Heal, same thing in reverse. You're just healing the player for a certain number of, you know, whatever the amount is. This will apply the buff. Now this is another option that is not functioning. I don't know whether it has to do with the ID. My ID is not correct, but give buff ID, okay? And that's supposed to be give buff speed, and I know that speed is the name of the buff, but when I click this, it's not giving me the buff. So that's a little bit bugged. Again, not as big of a concern. I don't know how many people use buffs actively. You can always just go to the buffer and get the buff as you would normally, right? Whee! Get out of here, Bob. All right. And this is one of the best options. This pin command, this new add pin command, is basically it does exactly what it says. It's going to add a pin to the map, and that there's no way to change the icon. It's just a pin, but you can give the name and the coordinates. So let's take a look at what that does. Here we go. It'll add a pin. Command add pin stronghold is what I named it. Here are the coordinates. Right. So let's take a look at what that looks like in the game. Bam. And it opens up the map. So there you go. Now this will stay open until you click exit, and you can remove this with right clicking. So if I find stronghold again, I can right click on it just like I could any other pin and delete it. Be aware of that. The next one is just the ping. Just like if you ping something on a map, like if I ping this, right? It's going to be the same effect, and it will not last forever, so it'll go away, I think after like 5 seconds or whatever. So if you click on that, it's going to ping. It's still showing a colon, and it doesn't like spaces. So just be aware of that. But that's a really cool effect. So you can add that into quests, or dialogue options rather, to show the player where to go next. And that's a really great feature to have. So those are the dialogue options at this point. There's going to be some improvements coming up and some feature additions, but that's the basic framework of what you can do, and just with that you can do a lot of really cool stuff. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up. If you want more, subscribe. That way I know you're interested, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.